Hello, everyone, and welcome to a week where I read my screen time. So basically, let me tell you about where this came from. First of all, I've seen loads of people do this, so that's kind of the initial idea came from that. But I had a friend who recently deleted Instagram from her phone, and she shared with me how much time she spent on Instagram every single day. And so I was like, oh, I wonder like how much time I spend on Instagram. So I checked, and mine might have been much better than hers. So I was quite pleased with myself. But if you look at my overall screen time, it is not good. It's definitely more embarrassing than what she told me for Instagram. So what I thought I would do for 1 week is do kind of what all the cool kids are doing and read my screen time. Today is Thursday. When I look back, last week Thursday, I spent 2 hours and 58 minutes on my phone. So that is how much I'm going to have to read. It is almost 5 o'clock tonight. Okay, so it is 8 o'clock and I have like almost 2 hours of reading left to go. So that's crazy. But I started this book, ouch, The Other Side of Mrs. Wood by Lucy Barker. And I just picked it up. I basically wanted something cozy feeling, but still kind of mysterious and not like super dark, but like, I don't know. This just fit the vibe of what I was looking for. And so I opened it and I started reading. And like I said, I'm not very far yet because I got interrupted. But right now it's about a psychic and it takes place in, first of all, stop, Notting Hill. I have been to Notting Hill, in the neighborhood. I've been there. I stayed there for like a whopping 2 nights. Anyway, so I thought that was cool. That already made me excited when I opened up and I saw a place that I recognized, even though it's not a place I've lived, blah, 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 whatever. So it's obviously like British. There's like British words and stuff in here. And so I was like, hang on, like, is this real British or is this like fake? Like Americans love England and they just think that every creepy vibe book needs to be set in another country, especially England. But I looked in the back, okay? Remember, I'm going back to the UK this summer, and I will be 2 places, but the first place that I will be is in Bath. So I read a little bit about the author. It's kind of hard to hold up with one hand. There she is. Guess where she's from? Bath. So this is like, I'm so glad I picked this up. It is like the perfect read for me. cross-country skiing, and it went how last year went with snowmobiling. I hated it, but I tried it, and I'm proud of myself for trying, and just like so feeling my legs feel like noodles right now. I am really bad at cross-country skiing, so basically I like trying new things, and I thought that it would be nice to try cross-country skiing because I've never done it before. And I should have been a little bit aware of one of my major fears, and I'm only really just realizing that it's a major fear that is pervasive, but I don't like hills, okay? So I have a few traumatic experiences involving hills, but this is hills of any sort and on any sort of modality on accessing the hills. So when I was like 8 or so, I went camping with my aunt and uncle, and we were bike riding around the campground, which actually is really close to my house now, and sometimes I go hiking there. Anyway, and there was this really big hill, and I did not want to go down. I was terrified. I did not want to go down. They encouraged me, and guess what happened? I wiped out. And I'm talking like, not just like, oh, I fell off my bike. No, I don't know the correct term. Gravel burn? Something. Like all scratched up and like a skinned knee, but on your face. And skinned knees also, and like my whole body was skinned. I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad, but I was in a lot of pain and I looked real messed up. And then when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I think 8th grade, I went to a Halloween party in which there were hay rides. And so we went on a hayride, and the hayride went down a really scary hill that also I didn't want to go down because I don't like hills. And this time I'm on a hayride, not on a bike. And the hayride basically wiped out. Someone ended up being killed, and I fell off the hayride myself, but obviously was not killed. So there's that. And then there's just like other times that make me nervous. Like, for example, when I'm hiking and I have to go down a hill and there's like leaf litter that's kind of wet, like, nope, don't like that. I mean, I do it anyway. It's not like I'm going to be like terrified to like walk down a hill when I'm hiking, but like, nope, don't like that. Don't like backpacking down hills. Just don't like hills in general. Don't even like walking down hills. Anyway, cross-country skiing actually does involve hills. Like, you're basically cross-country skiing in the same places where you hike during other seasons, except this one is pretty much closed to only cross-country skis, I'm pretty sure, during the winter, just because they groom the trails and stuff like that. So we had to go down hills, and I fell down so many times, and then I was like stuck down. And also, some of the times I fell down almost on purpose because I was going too fast and I didn't know how to slow myself down. Like, we were supposed to like turn your skis and then like tilt inwards and put your knees together, but it wasn't working. I still kept going, and I was getting too scared, and I didn't like going fast. So anyway, the parts of my class where we were going on flat-ish or like slight decline, that was great. That was fine. I mean, it wasn't really fine because you're supposed to glide when you're cross-country skiing, and every glide to me felt like when you slip on water or ice and you don't completely fall, but you are like trying to like maintain your balance. Like, it felt like that the whole time, so I didn't like that. But like, I could see myself practicing and getting better on the flat parts, but it involves hills, and I don't like hills, and I just don't think it's the sport for me. I also fell really hard one time on my booty, which you're supposed to fall forward. Like, if you're doing this correctly, I did fall forward once. Did the teacher see me? No, because he ditched me at that point. But, and I like fell all the way backwards, and then my head smacked the ground. So it still hurts. I think my pupils are the same sizes. I think I'm okay. But anyway, Yeah, I'm really proud of myself for trying a new thing, but I didn't like it. Last year I tried snowmobiling. Terrifying. Will not do that again. But did I try it? Yes, I did. And I also tried snowshoeing. Did I like it? Yes. Would I do it again? Yes. It's a very like low level situation. Like it's not scary. So yeah. Meanwhile, while I don't do scary things with my body, like I hate roller coasters, I obviously hate hills. I do scary things like moving to random places where I don't know anybody or traveling solo. So there are other ways that I am brave, just not involving hills. But I wanted to check in and talk about reading. Oh my gosh, it's super sunny. It's so nice because it's like never sunny in Michigan in the winter. Anyway, yesterday I finished The Other Side of Mrs. Wood by Lucy Barker, and this was exactly what I was looking for. I wanted something not super fluffy, but kind of mysterious and like a good winter vibe. And I just felt this was perfect for what I was looking for. So it tells of Mrs. Wood, who is a medium, and she has this, I think I already said this in a previous clip, but she has this girl who kind of appears to be following her. She figures out what she wants, which is basically that she wants to train under her and learn to be a medium herself because she feels like she has a gift for it. And yeah, so she ends up training her, and then there is a lot of tension, and you can just figure out what happens later if you want to read it. But it's basically the story of two mediums, and it is based on two historical people, two people from history. So the author doesn't really say that until the very end, which I think is the whole point. Like, she doesn't want you to kind of figure out how the story is going to go. So I wouldn't say it's super based on these two women, but there's like these two mediums from the Victorian era that gave her the idea for this story. So that was really cool that it added like this extra layer. So even though this book was really cool plot-wise, like based on like two mediums and their relationship and how things like how their relationship grew and changed over the years, that's all awesome, but it was very character driven as well, and that was really cool. And not quite literary, but kind of literary adjacent. So that was just like really fun to have kind of a book that was kind of in between like a plot heavy book and then something a little bit more literary. So yeah, that was cool, and I really liked it, and I gave it like 4.5 stars or 4.75. I guess it depends on the moment how I'm feeling about it. Yesterday I actually did not meet my goal for reading as much as I needed to read. I was about 1 hour short, and honestly, that was a little bit intentional. Like, I could have absolutely read for another hour, but I just had been reading so long that I wanted to do other things. So I took a break to play Stardew Valley for a hot second because I had it from the library and I just wanted to see what it was all about. I honestly didn't get very far into it, which kind of defeats the purpose probably of borrowing it, but I was just curious about it. So I played that for a little bit, and then I watched YouTube, but not as much as usual. So that's good. And then by the time I was done with that, it was like 8:30, and I was exhausted. I've been so tired this week and going to bed like super early. So I honestly went to bed at 8:30. I just wanted to like listen to like what I needed in that moment, and it was not reading for another hour. But I think the whole point of this, right, is not that you have to read your screen time, even though that sounds like it's the whole point of this, but like there are no rules, right? You're just trying to read your screen time, and in doing so, you're trying to reduce your screen time. So even yesterday that I watched YouTube, but I didn't watch it as long as I normally would, like that's pretty cool. That's the sort of change that I want to be making, and I'm just more aware of when I'm on my phone and all that, so that was super good. Okay, so for today, I'm supposed to read for 6 hours and 33 minutes. So that's intimidating. I could do that today. But I just want to have fun and enjoy my Saturday. So I'm going to read a lot. But I'm going to, instead of having a countdown timer, I'm just going to do a count up timer and see how close I can get to 6 hours and 33 minutes without stressing myself out. Something that I want to do today also is I really want to start watching Downton Abbey again, because I loved that show when it came out. I am not a TV person. There's only a few shows that I can ever say that I really got into, and that was one of them. And so basically, I have my trip really, really well planned now. Not completely, but like quite a few holes are filled in. And one of the days I'm taking a tour from Bath, going to like Stonehenge and a bunch of other places. And one of the places where we're going to have lunch is like a place that was a Downton Abbey filming location. So it just like put me in the mood to like rewatch it. And like honestly, the place where we're eating lunch is probably only like one day of like one episode of Downton Abbey. Like they probably went to visit somebody and their home was this other place, whatever. But I just loved that show so much, and it is like a comfort show for me, I think, even though there's a lot of really traumatic stuff. I'm super interested in medicine, but there's 2 episodes that like I have to like cover my eyes or mute it or something. Anyway. Actually, there's 3 episodes that give me the heebie-jeebies. So what I'm saying is I want to do other stuff today besides just read. But to talk about what I'm going to read on my Kindle, I would like to finish reading The Color Purple. I'm not very far into it. I believe I've read it in the past, but I can't 100% remember. It's feeling all fresh to me, but a lot of books feel quite fresh to me, honestly, because I don't remember them in super great detail after I read them. So yeah, I don't know, but I want to finish that because tomorrow my mom and I are seeing the movie of it. I think it's like a musical, but in the movie theater, whatever. I think did she produce it, or I don't know, something. Anyway, it's the new one. We're seeing the new Color Purple, okay? So I want to read the book ahead of time. And then I need to get some book club stuff done. So I started this one last night, Lady Tan's Circle of Women. And I was honestly, kind of grumpy about it because I don't like people telling me what to read. I know that I like Lisa C. I've read her stuff before and I have loved it. So it's not a problem with this book or this author. It's just the fact that someone told me to read something and I want to read what I want to read. I want to mood read. And I do this for every book club, okay? I wait till the last minute. I read it like the day before. Well, this is just a busy week. It's a work week. It's busy. I have a few trainings after school until 8 p.m., like 2 days. I have a massage one day. There's just stuff going on, and I want to make sure that I read this before our family book club on Sunday. So I started it yesterday, and actually I was like, oh, actually I'm really into this. I didn't get very far at all, but I'm on page 6. But I can just tell already that I actually will like this. So these are my priorities for today. But I also just went to the library, and because I said this whole Downton Abbey thing, I did get a bunch of the kind of coffee table-ish looking books that are Downton Abbey based. I already have 2 of them, or did at one time. I don't know if I still own them or if I unhauled them. But there's a whole bunch of others, so I got some of those, and then there's some other books that are the true story of somebody that's kind of what Downton Abbey is based on, or whatever. So some of those are chapter books. I'm not going to start those yet. Chapter books makes it sound like I'm in 2nd grade, but some of them are just kind of more books that you would glance through and maybe read, but more coffee table-ish. So I might pull those out too. I don't know. There are no rules, and we'll just see how much I can read today in a gentle version of read my screen time. Hey everyone, and welcome to a surprise snow day. I had no idea we would have today off today. So basically, Monday and Tuesday, today's Tuesday, we were supposed to get like yuck in the morning, like freezing rain or some sort of a messy mixture. And yesterday we had school and I didn't even think that we wouldn't have school today because I thought we would. And I was awoken at 5:30 a.m. to a phone call that we don't have school. So it was lovely. I basically chatted with a few friends in the UK because obviously they are not in bed and it is not 5:30 in the morning for them. Then I went back to sleep for a little bit and I went to yoga, yin yoga, which is my favorite type. Had some breakfast at the yoga studio. And then I just realized, like, during yoga that today is Taco Tuesday at the movie theater. Tickets are cheap on Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. And so tickets to see a movie are $5 today. And then I always get a kids meal, which is actually more than the movie ticket. So it ends up being like, I think $12 or something, but still it's like super cheap, right, to see a movie. So in a little bit, I am going to go see Freud's Last Session or something like that. It is about Freud, and I just watched the preview for like 2 seconds and I was like, yes, I'm in. And then I looked at the description and it's actually about him and his connection or sessions, I'm not really sure, to C.S. Lewis. And I'm really interested in both of those people, so I think it will be a cool movie. And also Anthony Hopkins. I mean, hello. So I'm gonna go see that in a little bit. And then I think I will have a little bit of time to kill, like a few hours, and then I have a massage scheduled for 5 p.m. today. So it is a strenuous day, but I just want you to like bear with me. So, okay. So anyway, I was kind of figuring out how many days I've been doing this, and I realized that tomorrow's actually the last day of doing a week of reading my screen time, which, as you may have seen, has not actually gone well. So it's like I could just not even post this, right? Because I wasn't successful in reading my screen time for a week. If you notice, there's one day I read my screen time. That was amazing. The second day I was an hour short, and then ever since then, like nothing has even happened. Like, no. So I thought about not posting this, but the thing is that the whole point of reading your screen time is not to be performative in doing it, but it's to really reflect on how you spend your time. That's like the whole point of doing this, and I think that's why people are doing it. And in reflecting on that, I think I already have decreased my screen time loads. Like, I think if you look at like this week's screen time compared to last week's, I think, I haven't done it, but I think it would be way less time. I also noticed that sometimes it's really difficult for me to read after school, and it was really difficult for me to read after cross-country skiing because both school and trying something new that's hard for me are both things that, while I love both of them, they are things that drain me and take a lot of energy. So by the time I get home, reading is not something that is as doable for me as like zoning out and watching 4 episodes of Downton Abbey, which maybe happened because I restarted the series, or scrolling through my phone, which has happened so much less, or playing video games or whatever. I'm starting to make the connection between how I feel during the day and how able I am to read at night, but also the connection between when I do read at night and like that one day when I did read my screen time, how completely calm my body was and how ready for bed I was. And just like, I can't even explain like how good reading felt in my body physically, even though sometimes it's difficult for me after school. Like I think all the teachers and I have talked about this because obviously like I am like really into reading, but the other people I work with also enjoy reading, just not like a weird amount like I do. And they also have a hard time reading after school, and they tend to read more on weekends or just on like vacations, like summer vacation and stuff. So it was interesting so far for me to make like more of a mind-body connection, I guess. And then also realizing how reading calms my body down so much. So if I am able to try to get myself to read, even if it's on a day when I'm kind of like zoned out and not in the right headspace, like it might help me. And then obviously doing this has decreased my screen time and allowed me to do other things. Like even if I am not on my phone, but I need to zone out, like watching, for example, Downton Abbey, it's still screen time, but it's a more productive, restful sort of experience rather than just scrolling on my phone. So I feel that I have grown a lot as a result of this little experiment, even though it looks like a failure from the outside. To me, in my heart, it's not a failure. I forgot to tell you even what I read. So a few days ago, I saw The Color Purple. I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding it for a variety of reasons. And there was also controversy upon my research with the 1980s movie and with the book in general. But I basically started the book before I saw the movie. And then I didn't finish it yet, but I was like kind of like, I would say maybe a third of the way through. I saw the movie. I loved the movie so much. And then that made me want to finish the book. And so I finished the book that night right after seeing the movie. And both the book and the movie were incredible. So high recommend. If you are like me and you've heard of The Color Purple, but you literally have no idea what it's about, it is about a woman in the early 1900s. Well, actually, she starts off more of a girl, and she is living a hot mess of a life because her dad has made 2 babies with her. So that's how it starts off, but it follows her over the course of time as she grows up and as she turns into a woman and lives her life. And so it goes, I don't know when it ends time-wise, but it's like in the early 1900s, like maybe to like the 30s or 40s when the movie and book end. The book isn't as clear with timelines as the movie was. So that was one thing I liked better about the movie, was seeing those breaks to see like when the time shifted and stuff like that. But yeah, so it is an epistolary novel, and so it's basically our main character, Celie, writing letters to God. And so that was one thing that I liked better about the book, is you can see through her letters how her relationship with God changes over the course of the novel. But while you can see in the movie how her relationship with God changes over the course of the movie, you really have to be like looking for it and know that that was such an important part of the book, because it's not as clear her relationship to God throughout the whole thing. Whereas in the book, obviously it is, because literally almost every letter is her writing to God and telling God about what's going on in her life. And yeah, at the start of the book, she is just really like, my life sucks, like, what kind of a God are you? Like, she doesn't really like say that, but it's more of a cause and effect sort of a God. And then at the end, it changes in such a beautiful way. And The Color Purple is like really an important title because of how her relationship with God changes. And I loved the song in the movie where they were talking about The Color Purple. But honestly, like, speaking of songs, I just want the entire like playlist somewhere, Spotify or somewhere, like, because all the songs were so good. So yeah, I guess I'm talking about the book and the movie at the same time. Some things I wondered about the movie. I guess I can't really say some of my wonderings about the movie, but when I got home and I read the book, like, everything was cleared up in much more detail than it was in the movie. Like, there was just some like logistical wonderings, I guess, that I had that weren't important, but something I was curious about. And it was very clearly explained and thought through in the book. So that was cool. And then there are LGBTQ themes, and they were definitely like hinted at in the movie, and then like definitely explored in the movie. But in the book, it was definitely much more explicit, just with like actually like describing somebody's thoughts and everything that they were thinking about. So yeah, I thought the book was more explicit, but beautiful either way. Book, movie, I loved it. I didn't know that was part of it at all, and it was absolutely beautiful. So high recommend to both the book and the movie, but that is one thing that I have been enjoying this week, even though I haven't been reading my screen time every day. And then actually one more thing I want to say is also yesterday was Monday, right? And I love my weekends so much. Like, I live for just being fully myself. Reading, traveling, yoga, hiking, backpacking, just being able to be myself and to live by my own time frame, and just to be responsible only for taking care of myself and for not making the world a horrible place, basically. And so oftentimes I have the Sunday scaries, and I don't know if it was because we had sunshine on Saturday and Sunday, or if it was a result of just getting off my phone and having more time for fun, whether that's reading my screen time or just having fun for the amount of my screen time. I don't know. But I just also want to say that on Monday, I was not dreading work, and I just had a really good day at work. And yeah, I think that's a change too. So I think that there's a lot of growth that I'm having in doing this, even if it doesn't look successful from the outside. My gosh, that movie was so good. It is going to make me go down this huge rabbit hole, I can tell. So excuse me. Basically, it was about Freud and his invitation for C.S. Lewis to come and have some discussions with him, which I think is really, really cool, because I don't think that we live in a world where discussions and debate are welcome as much. So it was really cool to see. And then obviously, like, I just loved like the whole atmosphere of Freud's like office and his home and his library and all that stuff. But it was a really interesting, basically, discussion between Freud, who is an atheist, and C.S. Lewis, who obviously is a Christian. I'm pretty sure he was Anglican, which is basically what I am as well. I'm Episcopalian, which I think is a similar thing in the U.S. I know that we also have Anglican here too, though, so I don't completely understand. Anyway, but the truth behind this story is that 3 weeks before Freud died, he was visited by someone from Oxford. And so I don't know how much research there is to suggest that it was C.S. Lewis, but essentially nobody knows who it was, but they're obviously thought it was C.S. Lewis enough to make a movie about it and to imagine what their time together would have been like. So that was super cool. I learned a lot more about Freud through this movie, and also about C.S. Lewis, things I didn't know before that make me really interested to read both their works. And then I also had no idea about more of Freud's family life, and I learned a lot about his daughter Anna, who's like basically like the founder of child psychology, essentially. And then also about her relationship with a woman, which I also didn't know, because obviously Freud is so focused on sex and things that I didn't realize that his own daughter was a lesbian. And it seemed in the movie anyway that he was quite resistant to that. I'm not sure how that played out in real life and in his writings, but bye.